Good evening, it's Deanne, and I've got a message from the bees for you today. It's spring, and I just want to share a couple quick tips about the bees. So this is connecting the dots, and I've got a message from the bees, as I said. Just a short little video today. Most bumblebee queens, they nest in the ground just under piles of brush in the winter. So right about now, I know I'm very tempted. I was looking outside this weekend and seeing some fallen branches and some twigs and what have you. Right about now, we're gonna see a shift in our weather, and I know a lot of us would like to go out and start raking and what have you, but please be careful with that. You want to wait because the queen bees, they nest in that kind of brush underneath there. So you don't want to start really tilling the ground and hard raking until May, because that's when they come out and they start to, make their summer and their spring hives. So please be careful. Don't go out and start the raking just yet. A couple other little tips.
It's one of those miraculous things. Apparently, the reason that honey does that is because of the frequencies of the bees' wings when they're building their honeycombs and when they're creating and bringing in the honey. So it's a frequency of the bees' wings that creates the hexagonal structure of honeycombs. It's also interesting is that the hexagonal structure is a structure of oxygenated and structured water that cures disease. This is really important. If any one of you can go and record the frequency of bees in a beehive, the buzzing of the bees' wings, and you take that frequency to a lab, a biochemistry lab, and you expose a petri dish of viruses, bacteria, and fungus to the frequency of the bees' wings, I suspect that that frequency will kill the bacteria.
Isn't that interesting? So bees are really, really, really important to our food supply. They pollinate our crops. And the bees have suffered in recent years, and there's a lot of different reasons why. I'm not going to get into all that, but we can protect the bees that might be on our property, that might be, under our foliage. And then here's another neat tip about bees. They levitate, okay? They don't just fly, they levitate. Inside the bumblebee, there's a hollow cavity next to their larynx. When bees move their wings, the cavity starts to resonate, the same resonance as the Earth's magnetic field. I've talked about the Schumann resonance. It's 7.83 hertz, so it's right about that same range as what Mother Earth is resonating. So then the bee becomes a free agent inside that a magnetic field, making the bumblebee able to resonate. So it has everything to do with that vibration. So maybe we need to figure out how we can resonate at the Schumann frequency. Here's something else you might not know. Bee watching can be a secretly miraculous meditation. As bees dance from flower to flower, absorbing the sun and disturbing pollen along the way, they emit a healing frequency that reverses disease and promotes soul and emotional restoration. Our brain may not comprehend this, but our cells do. This is believed to be the reason why beekeepers have one of the longest life expectancies of all professions. And here's a neat little tip here. We take for granted such a tiny creature can make such a huge impact. Concerned about our loss of bees, Morgan Freeman converted his 124-acre Mississippi ranch into a bee refuge. He's hired a gardener, filled acres with clover, planted hundreds of flowering trees, purchased 26 hives, and has turned himself into a beekeeper. Another tip is that this is a little, not so much a tip, this is possibly a concern. I'm not sure what the effects of this will be, but the USDA has approved vaccines for honeybees. A biotech company says when honeybees get sick with the American foul brood disease, I guess that must be what the birds and the chickens have been getting, their hives must be incinerated, impacting the bee population and in turn the global food supply. That one I'm not getting a good feeling about. I love the levitation. I love that the frequencies, of their wings have helped them levitate and help them make that octagonal shape of the beehives. And I didn't even know this. We're a little bit early for this, but the bees actually have there's a National Honeybee Day on August 20th. So maybe by August, I'll bring you some more tips about bees. But until then, please refrain from any heavy raking. Yeah, go ahead and pick up the branches if you want, but let's wait a little bit longer to do the raking and save as many bees as we can. Good evening and have a good night. Love and light from Connecting the Dots with Deanne.